Hey, Brian from SnakeBytes here. If you're aspiring to breed colubrid snakes like corn snakes and king snakes, this show is going to help you out. You're watching SnakeBytes. Colubrids are out of hibernation, which means my life is about to get absolutely insane. There's a ton of work in here, and in about 6 weeks, we're going to be getting about 1,000 plus eggs per day. So you can only imagine the workload that's there. But coming with that workload is a lot of excitement with cool projects. Even something like this Jelly Brooks that looks like it wants to take a pop right at my face. It's going to be cool to get this into some new mutations of Brooks Kings and see what we can come up with. We have all kinds of stuff in corn snakes, king snakes, milk snakes that we're just super jazzed about, but it's all about the work, and we're going to show you the process that we go about when we're starting to breed colubrids. Feeding is the first step after we get the lights on and the temperatures up. It's about mid-70s in here right now. It's going to eventually go to about 78 to 80 degrees. It's all about food consumption right now. The more food you can put into those females, the better chance that they're going to produce. We go through a tremendous amount of mice here during the colubrid breeding season, and as you can see, this is how we thaw them out in warm water. We'll actually go through about 5,000 of these a week, and that's just the frozen food. We have live to the animals that don't want to feed frozen, and of course we feed rats to the bigger snakes like king snakes and gopher snakes. It's all about food when it comes to this time of year, which means you're feeding 2 to 3 times a week and checking every single day. I'm telling you, if you're going to be successful at breeding colubrids, you have to be willing to put the work in. Not getting ahead of ourselves, but before we even start feeding, we organize everything into really interesting groups. After all, you want to make sure that your animals are being bred for the best possible outcome. Take, for instance, we have this anery lavender or moonstone that's het for diffused. This is a male, and we have him right above one of these blood reds or diffused corns that are het for anery lavs. Again, we're trying to optimize our production with each group, so organization is so important so that when you're breeding the animals, you're not running from one side of the building to the other side of the building trying to put males and females together. After all, making a mistake this time of the year is going to cost you big money down the road. With colubrids, things happen really quick, so after a few weeks of really heavy feeding, you're going to have females go through a shed cycle. With colubrid breeding, it's all about the sheds. That first major shed out of hibernation means the female is ready to start producing follicles. You need to get the male in literally within 4 or 5 days of that beginning of that follicle growth, because she's going to ovulate in about 7 to 10 days and lay her eggs within 4 to 5 weeks of being bred.
All right, guys, it's Cow's Question of the Week. This question came to me from George regarding the motorcycle helmet laws. Here in Michigan, we have to ride with a helmet. Some other states we don't. What do you think about that, George?
I think if you want to kill yourself, ride with no helmet. It's your choice.
I totally agree with you. I don't think you can make people act more intelligent. Text a video comment below and let me know what you think of the laws.
There's always a ton of projects that are really exciting to me, not because I'm going to produce something super sick this year, but down the road it could be a really interesting combination. I want to show you a few of those guys. There's this anery diffused, or what they call granite corns. I'm going to go ahead and take it into this dilute black motley. I have no idea what's going to happen when you get the diffused and dilute gene together. I know it's a tongue twister at least, but let me show you a few other things. These strawberry aneries are a little bit of a pet project to me because they're just so incredible. They're an anerythristic corn, but because of the strawberry gene coming in, which is essentially a type of hypomelanism, it actually makes their pupils red and turns them really pink. So we're hoping to continue to get the pinkest strawberry aneries we possibly can, and hopefully get them just outrageous over the next few generations. One of the projects that I'm really excited about are the Porphyracea, or all the bamboo rat snakes. These are actually the Valente species, but I also work with Laticincta and Coxeye. I tell you what, these don't even need a mutation to be incredibly naturally beautiful. Talk about an impressive colubrid. Look at this Taiwan beauty snake. This thing is every bit of 7.5 or 8 foot long. I tell you what, for a colubrid, that's pretty insane. This is actually not even my snake, it's a friend of mine's, but I'm gonna go ahead and work with it and breed it this year. And I tell you what, after working with this thing only for a few weeks, it's certainly becoming one of my favorite snakes that we're taking care of here at BHB. These guys are albino Ruthven theri crosses. And just the color alone makes me really interested to see what's going to come out of it. And because they're a theri, they call them variable kings, which means you can have all kinds of colors and patterns. You can see the difference just between these two, but I can't imagine once I start breeding these into other morphs what they're going to turn out like. This is a T-positive albino Nelson's milk snake. I've shown this guy to you before, but it's finally big enough to breed. And what makes it so cool is that when you breed it to a normal albino Nelson's milk snake, half the babies are going to come out T-positive. Working with colubrids is a ton of work on this level, and trust me, we're going to be in here like mad feeding these animals and breeding them. But the reward is so awesome because in another 3 or 4 weeks we're going to start seeing gravid females. In another 5 or 6 weeks we're going to start getting eggs, and then babies are only a couple months behind. But chances are, if you call or come and visit, you're going to find me in this room.
All right, Bri, so what's the best part of waking up?
Folgers in your cup.
That's correct, or coffee in general. So I got this email. Somebody's telling me that the smell of coffee will actually repel a snake.
Well, doesn't coffee come from Colombia where there's probably a bunch of snakes? What do you have in mind on this one?
How about we take Chewy, of course. We'll have him handle a snake, then we'll maybe have him sip a little bit of coffee, maybe dump a little bit on his hand, and see what happens.
Well, hey, I'm game. The worst that happens is Chewy gets bit twice, right?
That's true. Let's keep the fans happy.
Let's do it.
Since science has been suffering, I'm back to proving myths. Today's myth, I'm going to find a proven biter, have him bite me, and then put some coffee on it and see if the smell detours him or detracts him or something, okay? That proves that he loves to bite. Here, I will go get my coffee. I got my coffee, 2 creamers, 1 sugar, Splenda. I'm gonna pour a little bit on my hand. Okay? Might work. Or not. Ow! Ooh, I think he likes the coffee better. Ow! The coffee didn't seem to deter him.
All right, Bri, so what happened?
All right, so we found a snake that was a good candidate that was more than happy to bite him. He poured some coffee on his hand afterwards. The snake bit him even harder the second time.
This one's pretty self-explanatory, but is it going to be fact or fiction?
Total fiction. For this week's Comment of the Week, the question was, what do you think about the 3D craze? And Mr. Green Bottle Blue said,
I personally hate the 3D craze that's happening. I miss the good old days when I could go to the movies and not leave with a crazy headache. I guess I'm kind of lucky though because most of my local theaters have a choice between 3D and the regular movie. I also think that later on into the craze you're not going to need glasses anymore, so maybe it won't be as bad. Ha 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 ha.
you know, I kind of like 3D, but I've heard about that headache thing, so I get where you're coming from. I hope you guys enjoyed the show about colubrids. You know I'm a huge corn snake and king snake fan. On a personal note, I want to give a huge shout out to the U.S. military, specifically the flying geese of Alpha Company 4 BSTB. Until next time, you guys have been watching Snake Bites.